Right, I've got some excellent new projects for those that are into survival and camping coming up. I've just bought a torch here, a very low cost torch, and it's one of the best torches that I've actually bought for the price. It's a powerful LED torch with a variable beam, and it's chargeable with USB. It's called a Wall-Fi and it's the XML-T6, and it has loads of different functions on it. So turn it on like that, and then you can go through various different levels of brightness and the strobe, and you can alter the front here to put a very wide beam or a very narrow beam, and then you can press it and hold it in and it'll light up this section here. So you can actually stand it up and use it like that with the torch, say in a tent or whatever. And then press it again and it has a red mode and then an SOS mode. So I really like the torch, and like I said, I got this one off of eBay, and the only thing that I don't like about it is these type of belt clips. I would much prefer to have a lanyard coming directly off the back here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can make up a simple adapter to go on the back here without it actually ruining the waterproof seal on it or coming into contact with the electrical contact at the back there. Incidentally, the torch has one of these rechargeable batteries here, which is the 18650 lithium ion chargeable battery, 5800 milliamp hour, and it's 3.7 volts, and it lasts a really long time. So in a moment I'm going to show you how to actually make that adapter for this one and any other torch like this, so you can have the lanyard coming directly off the back. And what I like about having a lanyard on the end of a torch like this one here is the fact that you can have it secured to a belt, hang it round your neck, secure it to a rucksack, or suspend it from the inside top of the tent, hanging down, so that you have this light on all the time in the tent for safety. And this torch will last all night easily, probably longer, and it can also be recharged with the USB off of a solar panel. And before I show you that on the lathe, I'd just like to show you this excellent little tool here that I've just bought. It's made by ATuMan and it's called the K1, and it's a 16-in-1 multi-tool. And it's made of 440 stainless steel and screwed together with 3 Torx type screws. It has a Stanley type blade which can be set in either the forward or back slot position and then pushed up in the handle out of the way for safety, or you can actually take the blade out and use this section here to undo nuts or bolts, and the sizes of nuts or bolts you can actually undo with it are 6mm to 10mm. It also has a bottle cap or bottle opener on this end here, a slotted screwdriver on the other end, a small Phillips screwdriver on this corner here. Then it comes with this drive as well, which has also got a hole through it, so you can actually secure both of them to a key ring or a small lanyard or whatever. And therefore you have the larger slot screwdriver and the larger Phillips screwdriver bit, and obviously you use it in the hexagon there for driving. And like I say, you can use this slot here for either a key ring or a lanyard, or you can use it as a bending slot for bending small items. Also, when you actually put the blade back into the handle, there's a magnet in this center section inside which stops the blade from rattling around, and it's also great because I actually like having a magnet on me all the time to test metals when I go to car boot sales or whatever. Often you can actually buy brass, or what you think is brass, and inside it's steel. So actually check with this one first on the brass to see whether that is the case, and then I won't actually buy those brass bars or whatever. So like I said, it's great to have the magnet on you. And another excellent thing on this multi-tool is the two different rulers. You have the metric one from 0 to 6 centimeters in millimeter, and then you have the 0 to 2 inch on this side here, and they are deeply engraved so that it won't wear off in use. And I find it handy having those two rules with me all the time as well. And the reason I got this tool is because I got the actual ATuMan screwdrivers, and it's obviously made by the same company, so I knew it would be really good quality. They make the electronic screwdriver that I showed recently, and the manual sets as well. And the other fact I actually bought this one is the actual compactness. It is so thin and small, it can be put in a pocket and I won't even know it's there until I need to use it. And like I said, it's got all those different functions, and just having a small blade like this is really useful to have. Plus, when the blade is blunt, you can simply replace it because it's the ordinary Stanley type blades. And it's well worth actually going on the Banggood site and having a look at this one and all the different functions. Plus, it's well worth reading the actual reviews, which seem to be absolutely brilliant for this tool. So next I have this strange looking component here, and I've got several of these off of the Banggood site, and this is what they call a 3.7 to 6 volt high voltage generator module. And some people say they're the main module for a stun gun or taser. I don't know whether that's true or not. It's highly possible, but they're excellent little components, and I'll show you this one working in a minute. There's a guy on YouTube that actually strips one of these down. He gradually grinds down the plastic, because all the components or electrical components are sealed inside this one. And like I say, he grinds it down and gradually takes it apart, and I was actually surprised at the quality and the amount of components inside it. And I'm not going to make a stun gun out of this one. I'm making an entirely different tool, and something that's going to be very useful for either around the home or when you go camping or whatever. And I'll be making that survival tool on the lathe. I'll just show you the power of this one so it'll awaken your interest. I've set the wires at a certain distance there, probably about 10mm. You can actually have it wider. I don't like to go wider because if you go too wide and you connect it up, the power can be locked inside and not go through the terminals at the end here on an arc, and therefore actually ruin the component altogether. So I keep it to about 10-15mm. It's quite adequate. And then I have this 3.7 volt lithium ion battery which I'm going to connect up to this one. Obviously the red wire is the positive and this one's the negative, and the two at the front, like I say, are the arc wires. And when I actually got one of these through the post and first tried it, I was most impressed by the power and the noise, which you will see now. And if you were sitting in this room where I am now, you'd be absolutely surprised at the sound. It's absolutely amazingly loud and really shocking. It is actually so loud that it actually muffles the sound of the microphone on this video camera, and I have to wait a few seconds for it to recover before I do the next shot. There you go. Right, so on the Chinese mini lathe, I've got this piece of Delrin bar. It's 32mm in diameter, and I'm just going to part off a section of it for this component. And if you use this method of actually parting off a section close to the jaws, make sure you hold the bar loosely and have the lathe set in 0 on the RPM and bring up the rev slowly. So now I have my tool post drill set up with a cordless drill, and I've got a specially shortened drill that I've ground up so that I can actually drill straight into the Delrin or any other material without the use of a centre drill. And if you have a tool post drill like mine and you're going to do an operation like this, it's actually worth grinding up a set of HSS drills, shorten them down on the corner of the grinding wheel and actually grind them up again for this type of work. And just check it's on centre height before drilling. and just chamfer the end with my 45 HSS tool. So now I can turn it round and machine the other end. So now I'm just gauging the depth to the torch end, and that looks about right, so I can actually set my stop. And that one's a perfect fit. And it's a little bit deeper than the actual battery cap, so I can actually face a little bit off so that when I put this one in, it's going to be level with the end face. and that's about right. So now I can actually push this home with some Loctite 638 around the diameter so it's flush with the end face here, and then I can bring it back to the machine and turn off the diameter at this end. So I've put some Loctite 638 around that diameter, and I've got some protective aluminium angle iron on the actual vise, and now I can just push that home. And just wipe off the excess Loctite. And you can see there that I'm using an excellent MT2 live center with interchangeable ends. I got this off of Banggood. It's one of the best tools I've ever bought because you can actually make up different ends for it. It comes with several different ends, and I've made this end up here, which I had for another job, and the diameter of this PTFE on the end here is slightly larger than the cap on the torch. The PTFE won't damage the end there, and it'll help support that while I turn this down, but also give me a guide not to go too deep and thin it out too much. And one obviously has to have this gap here so that the tool can come right across and turn the whole of the diameter, otherwise it'll leave a lip on this end. And then I can use the same tool to put a little chamfer on the shoulder here at the back. and then just deeper the cross-drilled lanyard holes. And that's the job finished.